Nobody has done that but him in NBA history. I mean, it's spectacular to see. There's no doubt about it.
That LeBron James is only about LeBron James. For him to want and to wear a patch, nobody else wants to wear it. Nobody else is going to wear it.
When Stephen A. Smith looks genuinely confused, borderline stunned on national television, you know this isn't just another hot take moment. This is different. This is one of those situations where something small, on the surface, starts to unravel a much bigger conversation. And this time, it revolves around LeBron James and a jersey patch controversy that feels way bigger than it should.
LeBron James is going to be wearing a patch on his jersey that is honoring LeBron James.
Because let's be real, jersey patches exist. Every team has them. Corporate logos, sponsorships, branding, it's all part of the modern NBA. Fans have accepted it, even if they don't love it. But the moment LeBron gets tied into something like this, the reaction changes. Suddenly, it's not just about branding. It becomes about influence. It becomes about control. It becomes about whether the line between basketball and business has completely disappeared. Here's the part nobody's talking about. This controversy didn't blow up because of the patch itself. It blew up because it involves LeBron, and people are starting to question how much of the NBA ecosystem revolves around him. Not just his play, not just his legacy, but his ability to shape narratives, shape optics, and sometimes even shape the direction of the conversation before it even begins.
Nobody else is going to wear it, and the NBA historically has not a single time, outside of death, had a patch on a single guy's uniform honoring just that guy. No sport in the history of our country has ever allowed a single player while still playing to wear a patch that honors him and nobody else.
Now let's break down Stephen A's reaction, because that's where this really starts. He wasn't just criticizing, he wasn't even angry, he was surprised. And that kind of reaction from someone who's seen everything in this league, that tells you something. It tells you that even within media circles, there are moments where LeBron's influence feels excessive. And Stephen A's point, whether people want to admit it or not, was simple. When did the focus shift this far away from the game itself? When did jersey details, branding decisions, and off-court optics start carrying as much weight as what's happening between the lines?
It is now run by LeBron James, apparently said, "Yes, sir, no problem, sir." And in LeBron's next game, he's going to be wearing a patch that says all-time leader made field goals.
This is where it gets dangerous, because when the conversation around a player becomes more about everything surrounding the game rather than the game itself, it changes how that player is perceived. And for LeBron, that shift has been happening slowly but consistently. Let's talk about the optics again, because they matter more than people think. A jersey is supposed to represent the team, the city, the identity of the franchise. But when branding elements start to feel personalized, or at least heavily associated with a specific player, it creates tension. It creates the sense that the team identity is being overshadowed.
I'm not that concerned. I know it's the first time he's going to miss the season opener. I know.
Here's the part nobody's talking about. Fans don't just root for players, they root for teams. And when it starts to feel like the team is secondary to the individual, that connection weakens. It might not show up immediately, but over time, it changes how people engage with the game. Now let's be fair for a second. LeBron didn't create the business side of the NBA, he mastered it. There's a difference. The league has been moving in this direction for years. Global branding, sponsorship integration, media expansion, it was always heading here. LeBron just happened to be the player who understood it better than anyone else. But this is where it gets complicated, because mastering something doesn't mean it's always beneficial to the sport, and that's the conversation people are starting to have now.
I mean, LeBron James has been that dude in terms of his physical conditioning, but I'm not really worried about it for a different reason.
This is where young players usually make a mistake. They see LeBron's blueprint and assume it's the path to success. They think if they build the brand, the game will follow. But what they don't realize is that LeBron built his brand on top of elite performance. The concern now is that the balance might be shifting in the opposite direction. Now let's zoom out and bring in what's happening across the NBA, because this isn't just a LeBron story. The league is in a transition phase. You've got players like Nikola Jokic dominating games without any interest in controlling narratives. You've got Giannis Antetokounmpo focusing almost entirely on performance and team success. And you've got younger stars like Anthony Edwards who are building their reputation through authenticity rather than strategy. This is where it gets dangerous, because the contrast is becoming more visible. On one side, you have players who let their game speak. On the other, you have a model where everything is curated, managed, and strategically presented, and fans are starting to pick sides. And that's what makes this jersey patch controversy more than just a minor issue. It's a symbol. It represents that divide. It represents the question of what the NBA is becoming.
Everybody know MJ's my GOAT, but this is the greatest case that LeBron James has made for GOAT status.
Here's the part nobody's talking about. The NBA has always been about storytelling, but the best stories used to come naturally from the game. Now, it feels like the story is being written first, and the game is just filling in the details. Now let's escalate this, because this is where the legacy conversation comes in. LeBron's career is one of the most accomplished in NBA history. Championships, MVPs, longevity, he's checked every box. But his legacy has always been tied to more than just stats. It's tied to how he's navigated his career. And that navigation has included a level of control that we haven't really seen before. Team decisions, media narratives, public perception, LeBron has influenced all of it. And for a long time, that was seen as a strength. It was seen as intelligence, as awareness. But here's where it flips. When that level of control starts to feel overwhelming, when it starts to feel like nothing happens around a player without some level of orchestration, it changes how people interpret everything. This is where it gets dangerous, because once fans start questioning authenticity, it's hard to get that trust back. And in sports, trust is everything. It's what makes moments feel real. It's what makes achievements feel earned. Now, let's connect this back to Stephen A, because his reaction wasn't just about confusion, it was about recognition. Recognition that something feels off, that the balance might be shifting too far in one direction. And that recognition is starting to spread. You see it in conversations online. You hear it in analyst discussions. There's a growing sense that the NBA needs to recalibrate, that it needs to bring the focus back to the game itself. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They think the spotlight is the goal, but the spotlight is just a byproduct. The real goal is consistency, performance, impact. And if those things aren't there, the spotlight becomes a burden instead of a benefit. Now, let's bring in another layer, because this isn't just about LeBron. It's about the league allowing this environment to exist. The NBA benefits from star power. It benefits from global icons. And LeBron has been the face of that for years. But at some point, the league has to decide, how much is too much? How much influence should one player have over the broader narrative? And what happens when that influence starts to overshadow the competition itself? Here's the part nobody's talking about. The next generation is watching all of this. They're watching how LeBron operates, they're watching how the league responds, and they're going to shape their careers based on what they see. If the takeaway is that narrative control is just as important as performance, that changes the future of the game, and not necessarily in a good way. Now, let's tie this all together, because this isn't just about a jersey patch, it's about identity. It's about what the NBA wants to be moving forward. Is it a league driven by competition or a league driven by storytelling? And to be clear, it can be both. It should be both. But the balance matters. And right now, moments like this suggest that the balance might be shifting too far. This is where it gets dangerous, because once that shift becomes the norm, it's hard to reverse. Fans adjust, players adjust, the entire ecosystem changes. And before we close this out, let's address the elephant in the room one more time. LeBron's legacy is secure in terms of accomplishments. That's not up for debate. But legacy is also about perception. It's about how those accomplishments are remembered. And when the narrative around a player includes as much off-court influence as on-court dominance, it complicates that legacy. It adds layers. It creates debates that wouldn't exist otherwise. So now we're left with the real question, and it's not about a patch anymore. It's about what it represents. Is this just another example of LeBron being ahead of the curve, understanding the business of the game better than anyone else? Or is it a sign that the balance between basketball and branding has finally tipped too far? Because one thing is clear, Stephen A. wasn't just reacting to a logo on a jersey. He was reacting to what that logo says about the state of the NBA, and what it might say about where it's going next.